Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate your time and your viewership. It means a lot. So here we have the brand new release by the company Naughton and Wilson. And of course, this is the second release from the company. Many of you probably know this as Dan, aka Mr. Smelly's second release, with the first one being Gravitas. This one is called Bon Viveur. I'm very excited to give you my thoughts on this brand new fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review of Bon Viveur by Naughton and Wilson, Dan's brand, for Mr. Smelly here on YouTube, links down below, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews just like this here on YouTube, but also top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, and more, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. And while you're at it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me. So here we have the second release from Naughton and Wilson. The first one, of course, is Gravitas. I actually did a video on that one as well, and so I'm going to leave the card to it up here if you're interested in checking it out. That one is a very powdery, classy lavender sort of a fragrance. In this fragrance, we get a lot more citrus in the opening. So you have like lemongrass, lemon, mandarin orange, you have bergamot, a little bit of lime if I'm not mistaken, but then you also have like these aromatic properties of like bay leaf, mint. So it has like this mentholated quality about it, but then you get like these earthy facets in the base. And so you have the oak moss, the vetiver. It's a rather green fragrance, and it's one that I'm very excited to talk to you more about in depth, but let's go ahead and start things off with the presentation. So right in the opening of this fragrance, it opens up very bright, very citrusy. Like the citrus is so abundant in the opening. And I would say you get a really nice balance of the orangey facets, but then the brightness of the lime as well. And I think the lemongrass in here has a lot to do with that as well. So it's a little bit more lemony than it is orangey, just because orange comes across a little warm and a little zesty in my opinion, but this has that very bright, tenacious attitude in the opening. So I'm like, okay, it's a little lemon, little lemongrass or lime perhaps. And so you get that brightness of the lime and the lemon in the opening, but right away you kind of get that like clove vibe. So it's clove, bay leaf, and it's interesting that both of these ingredients are actually in here because they both share a compound known as eugenol. And eugenol has this very bright minty aroma. So you have the bay leaf, the mint, and the clove, and all three of those components are kind of contributing to that minty vibe. And so interestingly enough, there is a gin accord in the heart of this fragrance. And whenever I think of mint and citrus, yeah, you can think of gin. I think of mojito as well, but I kind of get like that fizzy, citrusy, minty, alcoholic drink type of a thing. And I guess it kind of goes back to the name Bon Viveur, which is a French term, and it's used to describe a gentleman who loves attending parties, is interested in really good drink and food, and kind of like an epicure. And so this one kind of conveys that vibe in the opening and in the heart of the composition. Now, when it dries down, this fragrance is totally Dan's style. So he's a fan of some of the older, classier Fougère and Chypre fragrances that are powerhouses of their era. And so even with the first one, Gravitas, it has like this powdery, classy, smooth lavender aroma in there, which is really likable. And then this one has like that citrusy, minty sort of a vibe, a touch of black pepper in there as well, just to sort of add a gentle spiciness. It's not overdone in any way. And in the base, I would say the green facets kind of dominate the woodsy facets. So you're gonna get a little bit more vetiver and oak moss than you will, let's say, cedar wood or vanilla or anything like that. So if I had to compare this fragrance to anything else on the market, although it does do its own thing and it is unique, I would say it's kind of similar to Eau Sauvage Parfum by Christian Dior, which is in the green bottle. And at times, I guess because of that minty quality, maybe that sort of minty geranium vibe, it kind of reminds me of Equipage by Hermes. And so it's kind of like a blend of those two fragrances. And I like how it kind of has that contrast of like those green earthy elements in the base, but also that bright minty and citrusy thing that is going on in the opening. And I just feel like for its evolution, it is a non-linear fragrance. And so it does change a lot on the skin. And so this is the kind of fragrance where you spray it on, you really have to spend some time with it. And so don't rush to form an opinion on it. It might be really bright and citrusy in the opening, but you give it 20 minutes and it has like this, almost like a earthy, slightly vegetal, myrrh, leather-like green quality in the base, which I actually find pretty fascinating. And so spend some time with it. I think it's a really interesting aroma composed by John Stephen, who is also the perfumer of the original Gravitas, which was the first release from the brand. But I really like this one. And so Dan, thank you so much for sending me a bottle, my friend. I really do appreciate it. And I hope I did your creation justice. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell is really pleasant. If you like those classic, you know, fougere, barbershop, but also chypre types of fragrances, if you like some of those green earthier tones, if you like those bright citrusy mint and slightly spicy compositions, definitely check this one out. I think it's gonna be to your liking. And there's something to be said about the performance of this fragrance too, because in terms of longevity, I was getting upwards of 8 hours from this fragrance. Projection radiated beyond an arm's length for the first 2 hours of application. I'm guessing all of that citrus in the opening has a lot to do with that. It didn't start to sit closer to the skin until that 6.5 to 7 hour mark. So the performance on this one is very, very good, but it did start to radiate within an arm's length after like that second hour. And so only for that first and second hour will it actually radiate slightly beyond an arm's length. Versatility for this one is really good because of the citrus. I would love to wear this one in the hotter weather, but then it also has like those dense, resolute properties in the base that make me want to wear this one when it's a little bit colder out too. This is a great office scent. This is a great formal occasion fragrance. I just probably wouldn't wear it in a casual scenario, although this one is more casual than Gravitas. And so I guess if you compare the two, then okay, perhaps this one is a little bit more casual, but it does give off this classy, refined, gentlemanly vibe about it. And I do think it leans a little bit masculine, but these are just recommendations. Please wear what you want, wear what makes you happy. In terms of the presentation, I like how he switched it up from the green to the blue. I wonder what's next. My final verdict on this fragrance is, if you are a fan of classy, refined, minty, citrusy, earthy, and green fragrances, very much like the ones that were released in the 70s and 80s, chances are you are really going to enjoy this fragrance. Even though the two fragrances that I compared it to, Equipage came out slightly before, and then the most recent one, which was the Christian Dior, actually came out recently, but I digress. So anyways, thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. I hope you took something of value from this video. If you did, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. And while you're at it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would mean a lot. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.